My husband died in a fire, and during my son's baptism, my sister said, "Are we having a barbecue? Or is her husband the only one who can turn into one?" Before continuing the story, let us know in the comments which city you're watching from. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss more stories, and leave your like on the video. I never thought I'd be planning a baptism alone. 8 months after the fire that took my husband, I stood in our kitchen. His kitchen, really, the one he renovated with his own hands during his days off from the fire station, arranging white roses in crystal vases. Everything had to be perfect, not because I cared about impressing anyone, but because perfection was the only thing keeping me from falling apart completely. The house felt too big without him. Every corner held a memory: his boots by the door, the coffee mug he never put in the dishwasher, the baby monitor he installed with such care, checking it 3 times to make sure it worked. Now it was just me and our son, this tiny human who would never remember his father's laugh or the way he sang off-key lullabies at 3 in the morning. I'd spent weeks preparing for this day. The invitations had gone out 6 weeks prior, cream cardstock with gold lettering. I'd taste-tested 3 different bakeries before settling on the vanilla cake with buttercream roses. I'd called the florist 4 times to confirm the arrangements. Control was all I had left. My sister arrived an hour late to the baptism, her heels clicking against the church steps like little hammers. She wore black, not morning black, but that deliberate, fashionable black that screamed, "Look at me." Her smile was sharp as she air-kissed my cheek, leaving a smudge of red lipstick near my ear. "Everything looks lovely," she said, her eyes scanning the decorated hall. "You've really settled into the widow role, haven't you? The house, the life insurance, playing the grieving hero's wife. It must be nice, having everyone feel sorry for you." Her voice was honey-coated poison, delivered with that practiced sweetness she'd perfected over the years. I didn't respond. I'd learned years ago that my sister fed on reactions the way some people feed on attention. Instead, I adjusted my son's baptism gown, the same one my husband had worn as a baby, carefully preserved by his mother, and walked away, feeling her eyes burning into my back. The ceremony was beautiful. The priest spoke about new beginnings and God's grace, about innocent souls and protective love. I held my son, our son, and felt my husband's absence like a physical weight pressing on my chest. People cried. They always cried at these things, but especially when the widow is young and the hero is dead. I saw my sister in the 3rd row, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue, her performance as polished as always. The reception was held in the church hall. I decorated it myself with white streamers and silver balloons, with photo collages of my husband in his uniform scattered on every table. People told stories about him, about the lives he'd saved, about his terrible jokes and his generous heart. My son slept through most of it, peaceful in his bassinet while his father was mourned all over again. Later that night, after everyone had left and I'd finally gotten the baby down, my phone buzzed. It was my best friend, the one who'd helped me address invitations and pick out the cake. "I need you to hear something," she said, her voice tight. "I wasn't going to tell you, but you deserve to know." She sent an audio file. WhatsApp, forwarded from someone who'd received it from someone else. I almost didn't press play. Some instinct told me that once I heard it, something would change forever. But my finger moved anyway, and suddenly my sister's voice filled the quiet nursery. She was laughing, not just chuckling, full-on cackling, the kind of laughter that has no warmth in it, only cruelty. "God, I can't believe we have to sit through this whole baptism thing tomorrow," her voice crackled through my phone speaker. The audio was from the night before. While I'd been up late folding programs, she'd been mocking me. "What do you think they'll serve? Barbecue? Or is her husband the only one who gets to turn into that?" Someone else laughed with her. I didn't recognize the voice. The audio continued. More jokes. More venom. Something about me cashing in on tragedy. But I'd stopped listening. My hands had gone numb. I looked down at my sleeping son, his tiny chest rising and falling with each peaceful breath, completely unaware that someone had turned his father's death into a punchline. I played it again, and again. Each time the words cut deeper, but something else was growing beneath the pain, something cold and deliberate. I thought about my husband running into burning buildings while others ran out. I thought about the funeral, where my sister had cried beautifully for the cameras, where she'd held my hand and whispered that she'd always be there for me. I thought about every subtle dig, every backhanded compliment, every moment of her hidden cruelty finally exposed in her own voice. The baby stirred in my arms, and I held him closer. In that moment, with her laughter still echoing in my ears, Grief transformed into something else entirely, something that felt a lot like purpose. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the dark, my husband's old fire department jacket wrapped around my shoulders, and I began to plan. By the time the sun rose, I knew exactly what I was going to do. The video took me 3 days to create. I worked on it only after my son fell asleep, sitting at the kitchen table with my laptop, headphones on, piecing together something that would make the truth impossible to ignore. I started with photos of my husband. There were hundreds, him in his uniform on graduation day from the fire academy, him holding our son for the first time in the hospital, him laughing at a barbecue with his crew. I chose the most heroic ones, the images that showed exactly who he was. A man who ran toward danger. A father who would never meet his son's first day of school. A husband who died saving strangers. I added the fire department anthem as the background music. It was the same song they'd played at his funeral, the one that had broken me completely when his fellow firefighters stood at attention. Tears streaming down their faces. Now I was using it as a weapon. The first minute of the video was pure tribute. Photos faded in and out, each one a reminder of what had been lost. I included a clip from the local news coverage of the fire, the anchor's somber voice explaining how he'd gone back into the burning warehouse to search for anyone who might still be trapped. How the roof had collapsed. How he'd never made it out. Then came the audio. I let the tribute music fade slowly, replaced by the crackling sound of the WhatsApp recording. My sister's voice, loud and clear. What do you think they'll serve? Barbecue? Or is her husband the only one who gets to turn into that? I'd edited it carefully, isolating just that line, making sure every word was crystal clear. No context, no excuses. Just her cruelty in its purest form, followed by her laughter and someone else's voice agreeing, egging her on. The video ended with a black screen and white text. Some flames burn from the inside. I must have watched it 50 times, my finger hovering over the delete button more than once. Was I really going to do this? Was I going to take something private? Something vile? Yes, but still private. And make it public? Every time I hesitated, I thought about her face at the baptism, the fake tears, the performance, the way she'd kissed my cheek and told me everything looked lovely while behind my back, she'd been laughing about my husband's death. The way she'd spent years making me feel small, always with that smile, always with plausible deniability. On the morning of the actual baptism celebration, we'd had the ceremony a week prior, but I'd planned a larger gathering for family and close friends. I arrived early to the event venue. It was the same hall where we'd held my husband's memorial service, and I'd chosen it deliberately. The walls still remembered our grief. I'd told the venue coordinator I wanted to show a tribute video during dinner, and she'd been touched by the idea. What a beautiful way to honor him, she'd said, helping me connect my laptop to the projector and sound system. No one suspected anything. Why would they? I was the grieving widow, the young mother trying to give her son some sense of family, trying to honor a dead hero. I was playing my role perfectly. The dinner went smoothly. My parents sat at the head table with me, my son in a high chair between us, gumming a teething ring. My sister sat 2 tables away with her friends, laughing too loudly, drinking too quickly. She'd worn white to a baby's baptism celebration, like she was the bride at someone else's wedding. When dessert was served, I stood up and tapped my glass. The room fell quiet. I want to thank you all for being here, I said, my voice steady. I'd practiced this. My son will grow up knowing he was surrounded by love from his first days. I've put together a short video tribute to his father, and I hope you'll watch it with me. I nodded to the coordinator. The lights dimmed. The projector hummed to life. For the first minute, everything went exactly as planned. People cried quietly. I heard someone blow their nose. My mother reached over and squeezed my hand. I watched my sister out of the corner of my eye. Even she had tears in her eyes, probably proud of her performance. Then the music changed. The audio crackled through the speakers, filling every corner of the room. What do you think they'll serve? Barbecue? Or is her husband the only one who gets to turn into that? The laughter that followed was obscene in its clarity. It echoed off the walls, bounced back from the high ceiling, seemed to multiply in the silence that followed. I watched my sister's face drain of color. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Around the room, people turned to look at her, then at me, then back at the screen where the final message appeared. Some flames burn from the inside. The video ended. The screen went black. The silence that followed was absolute. Even my son, who'd been babbling happily, had gone quiet, as if he could sense that something irreversible had just happened. I didn't move, didn't speak. I simply stood there, my hand still holding my mother's, and waited for the world to react. The silence lasted maybe 10 seconds. Then everything exploded at once. My sister shot to her feet, her chair scraping against the floor with a sound like a scream. That was private. You can't. Her voice broke. She looked around the room wildly, seeing the stares, the shock, the dawning understanding on every face. You recorded me? She shouted, but her voice was shaking now. How could you? I didn't record anything, I said quietly. My voice carried in the stunned silence. Someone sent it to me. Someone who thought I should know what my own sister really thinks of my dead husband. My mother's hand had gone limp in mine. She was staring at my sister with an expression I'd never seen before, something between horror and recognition, like she was seeing someone clearly for the first time. I didn't mean. My sister's face was red now, tears streaming down her cheeks, but they weren't the practiced tears from the baptism. These were desperate, ugly tears. It was a joke. I was drunk. A joke? The voice came from near the door. It was one of my husband's firefighter friends, still in his dress uniform from the ceremony. His face was hard. That's what you call a joke? Other voices joined in. Someone's phone was out. I saw the glow, the recording light. Another person was filming too. Within seconds, at least 5 phones were pointed at my sister, capturing her meltdown in real time. Put those away, she screamed. Stop filming me. But they didn't stop. Why would they? She'd made a spectacle of herself, and in our small town, spectacles were currency. My father, who'd been sitting silent and pale, finally stood up. Everyone, please. This is a family matter. A family matter? The firefighter's voice was cold. She joked about one of our brothers burning to death. That's not a family matter. That's disgraceful. My sister turned on me then, her face twisted with rage and panic. You planned this. You vindictive bitch, you planned all of this. The room gasped. You don't curse in front of a baby. You don't curse in what's essentially a church event. But she'd lost control completely. You've always been jealous of me, she continued, her voice getting higher, more frantic. Always playing the victim, always getting the attention. Even now, even with your dead husband, you have to make it about you. That's enough. My mother's voice cut through the chaos like a knife. She stood up slowly, her face pale. That's enough. We're leaving. Mom, my sister started, but my mother held up her hand. Not you. Your father and I are leaving. You. She looked at my sister with something close to disgust. You need to figure out who you are and what you've become. My sister's friends were gathering their things, not meeting her eyes. One by one, people started filing out. Some stopped to hug me, to whisper that they were sorry, that they couldn't believe it. Others just left quickly, uncomfortable with the raw emotion, with the family drama they'd witnessed. The priest, who'd been standing frozen by the door, finally approached my sister. I think it's best if you leave, he said gently. People are very upset. She looked around the emptying room, at the phones still pointed at her, at me standing calm and collected by the projector. This isn't over, she said, her voice low and dangerous. You're going to regret this. I already do, I said, and I meant it. Not because I regretted exposing her, but because I regretted that it had come to this, that my husband's memory had to be defended at all, that my sister's cruelty had forced my hand. She grabbed her purse and stormed out, her heels clicking against the floor one last time. The door slammed behind her with a finality that echoed through the nearly empty hall. My mother approached me slowly. Did you know? She asked quietly. Did you know it would be like this? Yes, I said simply. She nodded, her lips pressed into a thin line. I need time to process this. Your father and I, we need time. She kissed my son's forehead, touched my cheek briefly, and left without another word. Soon it was just me, my son, and my best friend, who'd stayed behind to help clean up. We gathered the scattered napkins, the half-eaten cake, the abandoned wine glasses in silence. Are you okay? She finally asked. I looked around the destroyed celebration, at the video equipment still connected to the projector, at my son dozing peacefully in his carrier, completely oblivious to what had just happened. I don't know, I admitted. Ask me tomorrow. Outside, the cold air hit my face like a wake-up call. I strapped my son into his car seat, his small body warm and trusting, and drove home through streets that suddenly felt different. Smaller, more dangerous. I'd won something tonight, but I had no idea yet what it would cost me. By morning, the video was everywhere. Not everywhere in a viral national news way. This wasn't going to make headlines beyond our county. But in our town of 15,000 people, it might as well have been broadcast on every channel. It was in the local Facebook groups, forwarded through WhatsApp chains, discussed over coffee at the diner on Main Street. My phone started buzzing at 6 a.m. Texts mostly, some supportive. You did the right thing. She had it coming. Others less so. This was too much. You should have handled it privately. I ignored them all and focused on my son, on the simple routine of bottles and diapers and the soft sounds he made while eating. He was my anchor, the one thing that mattered more than any of this. The knock came at 9. My father, standing on my porch with his hands in his pockets, looking older than I'd ever seen him. "Can I come in?" he asked. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where I'd edited the video. He held a cup of coffee but didn't drink it, just stared into it like it might have answers. "Your mother's not speaking to your sister," he said finally. "Won't even take her calls." "And you?" I asked. He was quiet for a long time. "I keep thinking about all the times I defended her, all the times you'd come to me, upset about something she said or did, and I'd tell you to let it go, that she didn't mean it." He looked up at me. "I should have listened." "Dad, no, let me finish." His voice was rough. I knew. Deep down, I knew she had a mean streak. I saw it when you were kids. The way she'd break your toys and blame you. I told myself it was normal sister stuff, that she'd grow out of it. "She's 32, I said quietly. He nodded. "Your mother's devastated. Not just about what your sister said, but about what you did. She thinks you went too far." "I know." He reached across the table, covered my hand with his. "And I'm here to tell you, your sister's talking to lawyers." The words landed like stone. "Lawyers?" "She's claiming you violated her privacy, that you defamed her. She wants the house. Says if you can afford to defend yourself, you can afford to give her what she's owed." After he left, I spent an hour on the phone with my insurance company, trying to understand what legal protection I had. The answer was, not much. The rest of the week unfolded in surreal slow motion. My sister lost her job. She worked at a dental office, and apparently several patients had complained. The dentist let her go. The town had divided itself almost overnight. The fire department and their families were firmly on my side. People who'd known my husband understood, but others whispered that I'd gone too far, that family matters should stay private. The church community seemed uncomfortable with the public shaming aspect. I started getting hate mail. Anonymous letters slipped into my mailbox telling me I was vindictive, that I was using my husband's death for sympathy. One letter said I was no better than my sister. I kept them all in a folder. The nightmares got worse. I'd dream about the fire that killed my husband, but in my dreams, my sister was there too, watching and laughing. I'd wake up gasping, my son crying in his crib. Both of us needing comfort neither of us could really provide. 2 weeks after the video, my mother finally called. "Come to dinner Sunday," she said. "No greeting, no small talk. Just you and the baby. Will she be there?" "No. Your father and I are trying to figure out how to have both our daughters in our lives. Right now, that means keeping you separate." Sunday dinner was tense. My mother barely looked at me, moving between the kitchen and dining room with mechanical efficiency. My father tried to make conversation, but everything felt strained. Finally, over dessert, my mother set down her fork. "She's going to sue you," she said flatly. "She's found a lawyer who thinks she has a case. Privacy laws, emotional distress, defamation. The video cost her her job, her reputation." "And what does she want?" I asked, though I already knew. "The house," my father said quietly. "The house your husband left you. Or its equivalent value. About $300,000. That's insane." "Maybe," my mother said. "But she's serious, and we can't stop her. We can't fix this." She looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw something in her eyes I'd never seen before. Not just disappointment, but a kind of weary resignation, like she'd finally understood that some things in families break beyond repair. I drove home through dark streets, my son sleeping in his car seat, and felt the first real stirrings of fear. Not fear of my sister, but fear of what I'd started. The house where we'd planned to raise our son. The house that still smelled like him, that held all our memories. I'd wanted justice. I'd wanted the truth exposed. But justice, I was learning, came with a price tag I hadn't considered. As I pulled into the driveway, I looked at our home, painted blue, with the porch my husband had rebuilt, the garden he'd planted, and wondered if defending his memory was going to cost me the only tangible thing he'd left behind. Inside, I lay awake long after putting my son to bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to convince myself I'd done the right thing. That exposure was worth the cost. That truth mattered more than peace. But in the dark, with only my doubts for company, I wasn't sure anymore. The legal documents arrived on a Tuesday morning, delivered by a process server who looked apologetic as he handed me the envelope. I signed for it with my son balanced on my hip, his tiny hand grabbing at the papers like they were toys. Inside was a formal complaint. Pages of legal language that boiled down to this. My sister was suing me for defamation, invasion of privacy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. She was seeking $300,000, the exact value of my house. I called Tom, the lawyer who'd handled my husband's estate. His voice was cautious when I explained the situation. "Can you come in this afternoon?" His office was downtown. I'd left my son with my best friend, the first time I'd been separated from him for more than an hour since the baptism. Tom read through the complaint, his expression darkening. "Let's talk about what you're facing. Can she win? Maybe. The privacy claim is strong. You distributed private communication without consent, designed to humiliate her publicly." My hands were shaking. "So I'm going to lose my house." "Not necessarily. But defending you properly? 50 to 75,000 minimum. I had maybe 20,000 in savings. I can't afford that. You could settle. Offer her 50,000, keep the house. Get this over with." He tapped his pen. "This could drag on for a year. That's a year of your son growing up in a war zone." I left with a retainer agreement that would drain my savings. As I reached my car, my phone rang. My father. "Your mother wants a family meeting. Try to work this out." "Dad, she's already suing me. She could win. Please. Your mother's falling apart." That night, I pulled out the hate mail folder. One was from a woman whose husband my husband had saved from a fire. "You've dishonored his memory," she wrote. I thought about settling, 50,000 to make it go away, or fight and risk losing everything. In the nursery, my son made a small sound. I adjusted his blanket, watched his chest rise and fall. He looked like his father. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I'm sorry I couldn't just let it go, but I knew I'd do it again. Some cruelty can't go unanswered." Saturday night, my father called. "She's agreed to mediation before the meeting. Just you two with a professional. Your mother thinks if you can talk privately, she's suing me for my house." "I know. But maybe there's middle ground. Maybe she'll accept less if you apologize." "Apologize? For exposing the truth? For how you did it?" His voice cracked. "Please. Try." I agreed because I was tired. Because the legal fees were mounting and Tom warned this could take years. Because my son deserved better. The mediator's office was neutral. Beige walls, generic prints, inoffensive furniture. My sister was already there, stiff and formal. We didn't look at each other. The mediator explained the process. Then she asked us each to speak. My sister went first. She talked about betrayal, private conversations weaponized, losing her job over poor judgment. She cried real tears this time. I made a terrible joke. I was drunk and angry, and I said something cruel. But I never thought. She looked at me. "You destroyed my life. You mocked my dead husband. You laughed about him burning to death. I know, I'm sorry, but what you did, it's worse. You humiliated me in front of everyone." The mediator let silence stretch. "What do you each need to move forward?" My sister answered immediately. "Compensation for my job, my reputation, everything I lost. And I need her to admit what she did was wrong." "And you?" The mediator asked me. What did I need? Justice? Vindication? I need my son to grow up knowing his father was honored, that someone stood up for him, even if it costs you everything. I looked at my sister, at her red eyes and trembling hands, at the ruin we'd made. "Yes," I said. Even then, the mediation collapsed after 2 hours. No middle ground existed between us. My sister wanted me to grovel and pay. I wanted her to understand the depth of her cruelty. Neither of us would bend. As we left, she stopped in the parking lot. "You could have just talked to me," she said quietly. "Before the video. You could have called, told me you had the audio, asked me to apologize privately. Would you have?" I asked. She didn't answer. We both knew she wouldn't have. She'd have denied it, made excuses, twisted it somehow. That's what she always did. "This is going to court," she said flatly. "And I'm going to win. I'm going to take that house, and you're going to know what it feels like to lose everything." "I already lost everything," I said. "The night my husband died." She flinched like I'd slapped her. Then she got in her car and drove away. I sat in my car for a long time before driving home. My phone kept buzzing. My mother, asking how it went, begging me to reconsider, to make peace. I turned it off. At home, I held my son and thought about my husband, about the man who'd run into burning buildings because that's what heroes did, about the example he'd set, the integrity he'd lived by. Had I honored that? Or had I become the kind of person he wouldn't recognize? I didn't have an answer. All I knew was that the path I'd chosen had no exit now, only forward into whatever came next. The lawsuit was real, the battle was joined, and one way or another it would end with one of us broken. The months that followed were a slow descent. Discovery began in March. Depositions, interrogatories, endless paperwork. My sister's lawyer requested everything from my phone records to my therapy notes. The deposition was in April. When I sat across from her lawyer, all my preparation felt useless. Did you create the video intending to humiliate your sister? I created it to expose the truth. That wasn't the question. Did you intend to humiliate her? I looked at Tom. He nodded slightly. Yes. Did you consider the impact on her employment? No. On her reputation? No. On your family? Yes. But you did it anyway. Yes. By summer, stress consumed everything. I'd lost 15 pounds. My hair fell out in the shower. I couldn't sleep. My son sensed it. He cried more, clung constantly. Then came the call, Child Protective Services, an anonymous report claiming I was unstable. The caseworker was thorough. She inspected everything, asked about my mental health, scheduled a follow-up, and strongly suggested therapy. I knew my sister was behind it. The therapist asked, "What do you want from all this?" I want her to admit what she did was wrong. And if she never does, then I want everyone else to know. Even if it costs you everything? Legal fees approached $70,000. My savings were gone. I'd mortgaged the house. You need to settle, Tom said in August. They'll accept $75,000 and a public apology. No, you're falling apart. CPS is investigating. Your son needs a mother who's present. My son needs to know his mother has a spine. Your son needs his mother functional. His voice was sharp. People who would rather burn everything down. Is that who you are? I didn't answer. I didn't know anymore. That night, I looked in the mirror. Hollow eyes, gaunt face. Was this justice? My son was crying. He'd been crying more, picking up on everything. I held him close. "I'm sorry," I whispered. But sorry for what? For defending his father? Or for letting vindication overshadow being his mother? The CPS worker returned. "I don't see immediate concerns, but I'm worried about your stress levels. I'm keeping the case open 3 months. Checking monthly. I need to see you in therapy. Building support." After she left, I called Tom. "Set up a meeting. I want to hear the settlement terms again." Pause. "Are you sure?" "No, but do it anyway. Maybe being a parent meant choosing your child over pride. Peace over justice. Or maybe I was just exhausted. The person I was becoming, angry, obsessed, hollow, wasn't someone my husband would recognize. Not the mother my son deserved. The meeting was the following week. My father came with me. My sister sat across with her lawyer. The terms, $75,000, a written public apology, no further discussion. "And the house?" I asked. "You keep it." "I need to hear it from her," I said. "I need to know this ends it." My sister looked up. I saw the damage, the same exhaustion, the same weariness. "It ends it," she said quietly. "I can't do this anymore either. Do you understand why I did it?" Tom's hand warned me, but I needed to know. "Do you understand what you said about him?" Her eyes filled. "I was cruel, drunk and angry and jealous. And I said something unforgivable. I can't take it back." Her voice broke. "But I can't keep paying for it forever." "Neither can I admitted. My father exhaled shakily. "So it's over?" The lawyers exchanged papers. Within an hour, it was decided. Within a month, finalized. In the hallway, my sister stopped me. "I'm sorry. I should have said that long ago. I'm sorry about the joke. Everything." I wanted to say I was sorry too. For the public humiliation, for choosing destruction. But the words stuck. "We're not going to be sisters anymore, are we?" she asked. "I don't know. Maybe someday. Not now." She nodded, wiping her eyes. "Take care of your son. He deserves better than what we put him through." "So does yours," I said, because I'd heard she was pregnant. We parted without hugging, without promises. 2 women who'd destroyed everything between them. I drove home with my father. He was quiet most of the way, then said, "You did the right thing. Ending it, I mean. Did I? Or did I just give up? Sometimes they're the same thing." He glanced at me. "Your husband, he would have wanted you to choose your son. to choose peace. Would he? Or would he have wanted me to fight for his memory no matter what? He would have wanted you alive and whole. That's what love means. At home, I held my son and cried for the first time in months. Not angry tears or frustrated tears, but grief tears. For my husband, for my sister, for the family we'd been and would never be again. For the version of myself I'd lost somewhere in all this. The person who believed justice was simple. That right and wrong were clear lines. That defending what you love couldn't also destroy you. The settlement would drain my resources. I'd work years to recover. But my son would have a mother who was present, who chose him over vindication. That night, I slept 6 hours straight. The nightmares didn't stop, but they were quieter, gentler. In the morning, I started writing the apology. Not because I wasn't sorry for exposing her cruelty, but because I was sorry for how I'd done it, for the public shaming, for the nuclear option, for forgetting that some battles, even righteous ones, cost more than they're worth. The therapy sessions became my anchor. "Tell me about your sister," the therapist said. Before all this. She was 4 when I was born, the only child. Then I showed up. She never adjusted. I was 5 when I first noticed it. I drew a picture. My uncle hung it on the fridge. Later, I found it torn up. Small cruelties. Homework destroyed. My doll with hair cut off. My parents never believed me. What changed when you got older? It got sophisticated. She'd tell me my clothes were wrong. Once I liked a boy. A week later, he was dating her. Did you ever confront her? Once. I got accepted to college. Dad was proud. My sister said, "I think the hospital mixed her up with someone else's baby." Everyone laughed. I stopped trying. Went to college, built a life without her. And then you met your husband. He was different, kind. The pregnancy announcement was at dinner. Later, my mother told me what she'd said. At least now she'll have to focus on something other than herself. The fire happened 6 months into my pregnancy. My sister was there through it all, but when she saw how the town treated me, the widow, she got jealous. Do you think she always hated you? I think she wanted to love me, but she couldn't get past needing to be better. Does understanding that change how you feel? No. It just makes it sadder. You're choosing peace, but you haven't resolved whether you can forgive her. I'm not ready to forgive her, but I'm ready to stop letting her define me. That's enough. The settlement finalized in October. $75,000. Secured by mortgage. 15 years of payments. I'd keep the house. The apology was hard. I apologize for publicly sharing a private recording. I posted it. CPS closed the case in November. Thanksgiving came. "She's doing okay," my mother said. "Do you think you'll ever forgive each other?" "Maybe forgiveness isn't the point." My mother nodded. "I failed you both. I'm sorry." December came with snow. I bundled my son outside. He touched the flakes, laughed. Second Christmas without his father. I'd tell him about his father eventually, about the man who ran into fires, who died a hero, but also the truth. That being right doesn't always mean winning. I started freelancing. Money was tight. My best friend came twice a week. The firefighter community checked in. Sessions reduced. Healing. Nightmares came less. My sister and I didn't speak. Baby due in April. Some bridges can't be rebuilt. On New Year's Eve, I stood on my porch with my son watching fireworks. He pointed, laughed. He didn't know this year had nearly destroyed us. He just knew he was loved. Safe. That was enough. I couldn't say I'd made all the right choices. The video had been brutal, the lawsuit costly, but I'd survived. Sometimes survival is the only victory. I thought about my husband often. I'd never know what he would have said, but I knew he would have wanted me to protect our son. His photo in uniform still sat on the mantel. In spring, I'd plant flowers in the garden he'd started. My son would help. New memories. I'd keep therapy, keep mortgage payments, keep rebuilding. Maybe I'd forgive my sister someday. Not because she deserved it, but because I deserved peace. For now, I had a son to raise, a house to maintain, a life to live. The past had happened, but I could choose what came next. I chose survival. I chose my son. I chose moving forward. My best friend came over one evening. "How are you really?" "Tired. Broke. But okay." She squeezed my hand. "Do you regret it?" "I regret how much it cost. But exposing her? No. Even if it destroyed your family? My family was already destroyed. What now? Now I focus on him. I build a business. I heal. And your sister? She'll have her baby. Maybe in years, we'll be in the same room. Or maybe we won't." My friend raised her glass. "To moving on." After she left, I checked on my son, sleeping peacefully. We're going to be okay, I whispered. And I believed it. The new year would bring challenges. Mortgage payments, therapy, single motherhood, but I'd face it. I sat in the living room, Christmas lights twinkling. January would come, bills would arrive. Tonight, I was just a mother whose son was safe, a widow who'd survived, a woman who'd made terrible choices and lived with consequences. I wasn't innocent. I wasn't the villain, just human. The video had exposed my sister's cruelty. The lawsuit had exposed my own. We'd both lost. We'd both survived. Maybe that was the lesson. Not about justice or revenge, but about cost, about choosing your battles. I'd fought. I'd won and lost. Now I was walking away in acceptance. Some stories don't have clean endings. Some families don't heal. Some wounds scar. But you keep living. You keep choosing. You keep moving forward. For my son. For myself. For the memory of a man who believed in saving people. That was my path now. Not revenge. Just survival, one day at a time. I looked at the photo on the mantel. My husband in his uniform smiling. He'd died saving others. I'd nearly destroyed myself defending him. Neither path was wrong. Neither was entirely right. Life wasn't about being right or wrong. It was about surviving the gray spaces, making impossible choices and living with them. I'd made my choices. I'd live with the consequences. Tomorrow, I'd get up and do it again. Because that's what mothers do. Survivors do. That's what it means to keep living, even when living is the hardest thing. I turned off the Christmas lights and went to bed. Tomorrow would come, and I'd be ready. I thought the hard part was over. I was wrong. February came with bills. Mortgage, Tom's invoice, settlement, numbers that didn't add up. Freelancing wasn't enough, not with a baby. My best friend found me crying, surrounded by bills. I can't do this. Then let some drop. I started selling things. Wedding dress, husband's truck, furniture. Each item felt like losing him again. Job interviews were worse. One interviewer found the video, the vindictive widow. The internet never forgets. March brought crisis. My son got sick. I missed deadlines, lost clients. I called my mother. Can you watch him? Long pause. Your sister's staying with us. The pregnancy is difficult. Truly alone. April brought the breaking point. Notice from the bank. 2 months behind. 30 days before foreclosure. Tom called. Your sister's lawyer contacted me. She's claiming you missed a settlement payment. I was late. I paid it. They're saying that violates the agreement. My sister wanted me broken. That night, I got drunk. Alone. I called my sister. Text. Stop calling me. I typed. You're winning. I woke up with a hangover. Bottom. Climb or give up. I chose to climb. I called Tom. I'll renegotiate. What are you willing to offer? The house. Silence. Are you sure? No, but I don't have a choice. I held my son and cried. My husband's house. Gone. 7 days to pack. My best friend helped. You could stay with me. Your place is too small. Then we'll make it work. I packed slowly. Love letters, photos, plans for the garden. Tom called again. She'll take the house, 60 days to vacate. She'll forgive remaining payments. Mercy and cruelty. I'll take it. She wants to meet. I agreed. Sunday, coffee shop. I almost didn't go. She was already there, pregnant. 2 women who'd destroyed each other. Thank you for coming. I waited. I didn't want it to go this far. There is no way back. I know. Hand to her belly. I'm having a girl. I keep thinking what kind of mother I'll be. Eyes filled. I don't want her to be like me. Then change. It's too late. But sitting there, I saw something new. Not a villain. Just a woman as broken as I was. It didn't make what she'd done okay, but it made her human. What happens now? We finish paperwork. You move out. Do you regret it? Quiet. I regret it came to this. She looked at me. Do you? Every day. Silence. I stood to leave. Wait, I'm sorry, for the joke. Everything. The apology I'd waited for. It didn't fix anything. I'm sorry too. Sorry we'd never be sisters again. Take care of your son. Take care of your daughter. I walked out. Paperwork finalized 2 weeks later. I signed the house over. Losing and winning. Losing the house but gaining my life. Ending the war. My best friend helped me move. Tiny spare room. But mine. A place to breathe. Rebuild. My son adapted quickly. An adventure. At night, I'd think about everything I'd lost. The house. My sister. the life I'd planned, but also what I'd gained. Perspective. Understanding that some victories aren't worth the cost. I'd fought for justice and lost everything, but I was still here, still standing. Maybe that was the only victory that mattered. Days turned to weeks. I found new clients, started rebuilding savings. My son thrived in daycare, made friends, moved on from the house. I tried to do the same, but some nights I'd drive past, see the lights on, the garden now belonging to someone else. It hurt, but the pain was different. Not sharp, angry, just a dull ache. Grief without rage. I could live with that. June came. My son's second birthday. Small party at the park. My best friend. Firefighter friends. My parents, uncomfortable but trying. My sister wasn't invited. My mother pulled me aside. She had the baby last week. A girl. Healthy. That's good. Do you think you'll ever forgive each other? I watched my son playing, laughing, unaware. I don't know. Maybe someday. Not today. My mother hugged me. I'm proud of you, for surviving. First time she'd said that. It wasn't enough to fix everything, but it was something. Something was often enough. The party ended. My son fell asleep in the car. I carried him inside, laid him in bed, watched him sleep. Tomorrow I'd start again. Apply for jobs, build a life from the ruins. It wouldn't be the life I'd planned, but it would be mine. Ours. Real and imperfect and enough. That was the hardest victory. I sat on the couch that night. Apartment quiet. I thought about the video, the baptism, the lawsuit, the house. All the battles I'd fought and lost. I thought about my sister, holding her newborn, probably thinking the same things. We'd destroyed each other over a joke, over pride, over wounds so old neither remembered where they started. For what? For broken families and sold houses and sisters who couldn't be in the same room. Was it worth it? I didn't know. But I knew I was done fighting. Done holding grudges. Done letting the past consume the present. My son needed a mother who was present, not haunted. I needed to be more than the sum of my wounds. So I made a choice that night. I let it go. Not the pain, not the grief, not the loss, but the anger, the resentment, the need for my sister to hurt. I let it go. And in the darkness, with my son sleeping and tomorrow waiting, I felt something I hadn't felt in a year. Peace. Not happiness. Not joy. Just peace. And it was enough. It was more than enough. A year had passed. Life had rhythm. Wake up, work, repeat. Small apartment. 1 bedroom. Living room was my office. Work was steady. Enough. My son, 3 years old, asked questions. When is Daddy coming home? That still hurt. Daddy's not coming home, but he's always watching. Therapy helped. Once a month, healing. Slowly. Parents visited monthly. Awkward dinners. Never mentioning my sister. They'd tried to get us to reconcile. I'd held firm. I'm not ready. My mother would update me. My sister kept the house. Raising her daughter, working, seeing someone new. I never asked to see pictures. Some bridges stay burned. October. Everything changed. Park. Phone rang. My father. Your sister's in the hospital. Car accident. Stable, but serious. Stomach dropped. She's asking for you. I don't know if I can. I'm not asking you to forgive her, but she's scared. That night I thought about my sister. The girl who'd resented me. The woman who'd mocked my husband. But also the woman, broken, admitting she didn't want her daughter to be like her. I didn't forgive her, but I didn't hate her anymore. Next morning I called. I'll come, just once. Hospital. Sterile. Cold. Parents in waiting room. Thank you, my mother said. Tears. Room 314. I walked slowly. Knocked. Come in. Weak voice. Sister in bed. Pale. Bandaged. Her daughter's car seat. Baby sleeping. Year of silence. You came. I came. Silence. I'm sorry. I needed to see you. Why? I've been thinking. About everything. She looked at her daughter. I don't want her to grow up the way we did. Then don't poison her. It's not that easy. Yes, it is. You choose. Crying. I don't know how. Figure it out. Therapy. Break the cycle. I softened. But don't expect me to help. I know. I'm not asking forgiveness. Just wanted you to know I'm trying. I looked at her daughter. Sleeping. Innocent. Good. Keep trying. Turned to leave. Wait. How's your son? Paused. Good, happy, healthy. Does he ask about his dad? Every day. What do you tell him? The truth. That his dad was a hero. Sister nodded, tears. That's good. I left. Waiting room. How did it go? Fine. She's okay. I'm leaving. Will you come back? Thought about it. Maybe. Not because we're sisters, just because it's right. Mother hugged me. That's enough. Drove home. Didn't forgive her. Didn't want a relationship, but didn't wish her harm. Progress. Home. Picked up my son. Held him tight. Why are you squeezing me? Mama? Because I love you. That night, thought about my husband, what he would have wanted. Firefighter because he believed in saving people, even people who didn't deserve it. Maybe that was the lesson. Not forgiveness, just humanity. Didn't mean I had to let them back in. Just meant I could move forward without the weight. Maybe that was enough. Hospital visits became a pattern. Sister recovered slowly. Twice a week, brief, mostly silent. Didn't talk about the past. Just sat together. Wasn't forgiveness, but it was something. November. She was released. Moving back to the house with her daughter. I helped, carried boxes, assembled furniture, awkward small talk, standing in living room, walls my husband had painted. Didn't hurt as much as I thought. You've made it yours. She nodded. I hope that's okay. It is. It should be yours now. Silence. Do you want to stay for dinner? Thought about it. Son was with my friend. Okay, just this once. Dinner was strange. Safe things. Her daughter's teething. My son's preschool. Didn't talk about the video. The lawsuit. But sitting there, eating pasta at the table my husband had built. Something shifted. Not forgiveness. Maybe not ever. But acceptance. Of what happened. Of who we'd become. Thank you, Sister said as I left. For coming. For not hating me. I'm not sure I don't hate you, I said honestly. But I'm trying not to. She nodded. That's more than I deserve. Maybe, maybe not. But it was all I had. For now, enough. December came. Second anniversary of my husband's death approaching. Father called. We're planning a small memorial at the fire station. Would you come? Will she be there? Yes, but you don't have to interact. We thought, good for the kids. I agreed. Memorial was simple. Photos, stories from firefighters, plaque with his name. My son stood beside me, holding my hand. Across the room, Sister stood with her daughter. Our eyes met briefly. She nodded. I nodded back. That was all. But it was something. After, my son tugged my hand. Mama, can we see Daddy's truck? Firefighter overheard. Come on, little man. Led my son to the engine bay. Sat in driver's seat. Tried on a helmet. Son's face lit up. I want to be a firefighter like Daddy. My eyes filled. Sister appeared beside me, daughter on her hip. He would have loved that, she said quietly. Yeah, he would have. We stood there, watching our children. I'm sorry, she said suddenly, for everything. I know I've said it, but I need you to know I mean it. I looked at her, really looked. I know you do. Does that change anything? No, but it helps. She nodded. Silence. Watching the firefighters with our kids. Maybe someday, she said. Maybe we can be sisters again. Maybe, but not today. But not never. Thought about it. About my son, her daughter, the family we'd destroyed and might someday rebuild. Not never, I admitted. Wasn't much, wasn't forgiveness or healing, but it was a door left slightly open, a possibility. And maybe that was enough. 3 years after the baptism, 4 years since my husband died, life looked different. Full-time job, marketing coordinator, stable income, my son in kindergarten, making friends, drawing firefighters, talking about Daddy like a superhero, which he was. The apartment was home, painted walls, pictures, a life, not rich, not where I'd planned, but okay. My sister and I had settled into uneasy peace, family events, polite conversation, distance, not friendship, not sisterhood, but not war. My parents were relieved. I hadn't forgiven her, just learned to live with what happened. Acceptance wasn't healing, but it was something. The lawsuit was distant memory. The video, deleted, forgotten by most, but not by me. Some nights I'd still think about it. Wonder, if I could go back, would I do it differently? I didn't know. All I knew was that I'd survived. That had to be enough. Spring. The call. My father. Your mother's in the hospital. Heart attack. Come now. The drive was a blur. My sister was already there. We sat in the waiting room, not speaking. When the doctor came out, his face told us everything. "I'm sorry." My sister collapsed. I stood there, numb. Our mother was gone. The funeral was large. My mother had been loved. People came who remembered the video, the lawsuit. They looked at us with curiosity, judgment, pity. We ignored them. At the service, the priest asked if anyone wanted to speak. My father was too broken. My sister shook her head. I stood. My mother was complicated. She wasn't perfect, but she loved us. She loved her family, and she tried to hold us together. I looked at my sister. Even when we made it impossible, my sister's eyes filled. After, my sister approached. "Thank you for what you said. I meant it." Pause. "I keep thinking about all the time we wasted." "Me too. Do you think she forgave us?" I thought about my mother, the dinners, the attempts, the hug. "Yeah, I think she did." "Do you think we'll ever forgive each other?" I looked at my sister. Older, tired, worn down. "I don't know, but maybe that's not what matters." "Then what does?" "Maybe just not hating each other, just existing without the anger." She nodded. "Is that enough?" "It has to be." We stood in silence, two sisters who'd destroyed each other, mourning the mother who'd tried to save them. I miss her. Me too. Not reconciliation, not healing, but united in grief, progress. Weeks after were hard. My father withdrew. My sister and I coordinated care, awkward phone calls, civil, functional, distant. But we were there. One day, sorting through my mother's things, I found a journal. I almost didn't read it, but curiosity won. One entry, dated a year ago, stopped me. I pray every day that my daughters find their way back, not because I need them to be close, but because they need it. They've both been so damaged. I just want them to be free. Even if that means they're never sisters again, at least they'd be at peace. I closed the journal, tears streaming. My mother had understood. She'd known we might never be close. And she'd been okay with that. All she'd wanted was for us to be free. I called my sister. "Can we talk? In person?" "Coffee shop. Neutral territory." I showed her the journal entry. She read it, tears falling. She just wanted us to be okay. "Yeah. Are we? Okay?" Thought about it. The years of anger, the lawsuit, the slow thaw. "I think we're getting there. Does that mean you forgive me?" "No, but it means I'm trying to let go." She nodded. "That's more than I deserve. Maybe. But it's what I need. For me." We sat in silence, drinking coffee. "Our kids should know each other," she said suddenly. "Not for us. For them, they're cousins." I thought about my son, her daughter, the next generation, innocent. Okay, but slowly. Agreed. Small step. Tiny opening. But it was something. Maybe the beginning of something better. Not forgiveness. Not reconciliation. Just less poison. Less anger. Less weight. For now, enough. The first playdate was awkward. My son and her daughter meeting at the park. Shy at first. Then my son showed her the swings. She laughed. Within minutes. Playing like they'd known each other forever. My sister and I stood apart, watching. "Kids are resilient," she said. "Yeah. I hope they never have what we had." "They won't." "We'll make sure." She looked at me. "Will we?" "Yes. Because we know better now. We know what it costs." She nodded. We stood there, watching our children, two women bound by blood and broken by choices, trying to give the next generation something better. Not much, but a start. Later that night, tucking my son into bed, he asked, "Mama, is she my cousin?" "Yes, sweetheart. I like her. Can we play again?" "Yes, we can play again." He smiled and closed his eyes. I sat there watching him sleep, thinking about my mother's journal. She'd wanted us to be free. Maybe we weren't there yet. Maybe we never would be. But we were trying. I thought about my husband, about the firefighter who believed in saving people. Maybe that's what I was doing now. Not saving my sister, not saving our relationship, just saving the next generation from repeating our mistakes. Maybe that was enough. Maybe that was everything. 5 years after the baptism. My son was 7, second grade, playing soccer, remembering his dad. Daddy would have liked this. The apartment had become too small. I'd saved for a down payment. Small house, 2 bedrooms, backyard. Not the house my husband built, but mine. My son was excited. "My own room, Mama." My best friend helped pack. I'm proud. I'm proud of me too. It felt good. My sister and I had settled into normalcy. Not close, but civil. Kids played twice a month. Enough. Unpacking boxes, I found it. The flash drive, the original video. I'd forgotten. I sat there, holding it. Part of me wanted to destroy it, but I needed to keep it. Not as a weapon, as a reminder of what I'd done, what I'd lost, what I'd learned. I put it in a box at the back of my closet. Relic of a war I'd finally stopped fighting. My son came running. "Mama, can we put up my poster?" Of course. We decorated his room, posters of firefighters, pictures of his dad. He was happy. That's what mattered. That night, I sat on the back porch and looked at the stars. I thought about my husband, how proud he'd be. I thought about my sister, the peace we'd built. I thought about myself, the widow I'd been, the woman I was now. Not the life I'd planned, but real. Mine. Enough. Next day, my father visited. "Your mother would have loved this." Yeah. We sat in the backyard. "Are you happy?" Thought about it. "I'm content, at peace. And yeah, I think I'm happy." He smiled. "Good." Silence. "Your sister asked about you." "Yeah." "She wanted to know if you needed help moving. But you're trying. You're both trying." "Yeah." "Do you ever regret it?" He asked. The video? I'd asked myself that 1,000 times. I regret how I did it. The public humiliation. Paused. But do I regret exposing what she said? No, because it was true. Even when it costs everything? Even then. He looked at me. "You've grown up." I had to. He hugged me. "I'm proud of you." After he left, I sat on the porch, thinking about choices. I'd made so many, some good, some terrible. Each had cost me something. Each had taught me something. And now, sitting in my backyard, with my son safe and happy, I realized something. I'd survived. Not just the fire, not just the video and lawsuit, but all of it. I'd survived. And that was worth everything. Later that week, grocery store. I saw her. My sister. Eye contact. Froze. She approached. "Hi." "Hi." Awkward silence. "I heard you bought a house." "Yeah. But mine." "That's great. I'm happy for you." She meant it. "Thanks." Her daughter tugged her hand. She looked at me. "Are we okay?" Thought about it. "We're okay. We're not close, but we're okay." She nodded. Relief. "Good." The kids seem to really like each other. "Yeah. Maybe another play date soon? At your new house?" Hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah. Okay." She smiled. "I'll text you." "Okay." She waved goodbye. I watched them walk away. Two families, broken and rebuilt, trying to coexist. Not much, but something. And something was always enough. That night, tucking my son into bed, he looked up. "Mama, are you sad about Daddy?" "Sometimes, sweetheart. I miss him." "Me too, but I'm glad we have our new house." "Me too. And I'm glad I have my cousin." He yawned. "Do you think Daddy's proud of us?" Tears. "I know he is, sweetheart." He smiled and closed his eyes. I sat there watching him, thinking about my husband. He would be proud. Of our son. Of the life I'd built. Maybe he'd understand the choices I'd made. Maybe he'd forgive me for not being perfect. Or maybe not. But either way, I'd done the best I could, and that had to be enough. I kissed his forehead and turned off the light. Tomorrow would come, and I'd keep going. Keep building. Keep surviving. Because that's what mothers do. That's what it means to live. The new house became home quickly. My son made friends. I planted flowers. Small things that made it ours. I started dating again. Nothing serious. Coffee, dinner, testing the waters. It felt strange, disloyal, but my husband was gone, and I was still here, and he would have wanted me to be happy. My therapist said as much. "You're allowed to move forward, it doesn't mean you're forgetting him." I know, but it feels like I am. You're not. He's part of you, part of your son. But he doesn't have to be the whole story. She was right. Still, I tried. I went on dates. I laughed. I let myself imagine a future. It was terrifying and hopeful, but it was life. Moving forward, life. And that's what I was doing. One day at a time. One evening, my sister texted, "Can we talk?" We met at the park. Kids played on the swings. "I've been thinking," she said, "about everything. About what I said, what you did, what we lost." I waited. "I think I understand now. Why you did it. Why you needed everyone to know." "Do you?" "Yeah. Because you couldn't carry it alone. The pain, the betrayal. You needed witnesses." I nodded slowly. Yeah, I did. It doesn't make it right. What you did to me. I know. But it doesn't make what I did right either. I know. We sat in silence, watching our children. Do you think we'll ever be close again? She asked. I don't know. Probably not. But maybe not enemies? Maybe not enemies. She nodded. I can live with that. Me too. It wasn't much. It wasn't healing or forgiveness or reconciliation, but it was honest. It was real. And maybe that was better than any fairy tale ending could ever be. 10 years after the baptism. My son was 12, middle school, tall with his father's eyes. He played soccer, got good grades, had friends. He knew the story. Not all of it, but enough. His father died a hero. His mother made choices. His aunt and I had been estranged, but were trying. Old enough to understand complexity now. The house had become ours. I'd repainted, added a deck, built a garden. I'd been promoted. Marketing director, good salary, stability. And I'd met someone, kind, patient, good with my son. We'd been dating for 2 years. He knew about the video, and he'd stayed. My son liked him. He doesn't try to be dad. I like that. My relationship with my sister had settled. We weren't close, but we were family. Birthdays, holidays, graduations. The kids, my son and her daughter, were actually friends. Real friends. They'd given us what we couldn't give ourselves. A reason to keep trying. My father had gotten older. He talked about my mother often. She'd be proud of you girls for not giving up. One evening, my sister called. Can we talk? We met at a coffee shop. She looked older, tired, but lighter. I've been in therapy for years now. That's good. My therapist asked me to write a letter to you. She pulled out an envelope. I wrote it. I've been carrying it for weeks. My name in her handwriting. What's in it? Everything. The apology I should have given you 10 years ago. Why now? Because I'm tired of carrying it. The guilt. I'm tired of the distance. She pushed it toward me. You don't have to read it, but I needed you to have it. I picked it up. Thank you. Silence. I forgive you, I said finally. She looked up, surprised. I forgive you. Not because what you did was okay, but because holding on to it is exhausting. Life is too short. Her eyes filled. I don't deserve that. Maybe not. But I need it. Does this mean we can be sisters again? Thought about it. I don't know if we can be the sisters we should have been, but maybe we can be the sisters we are now. Complicated, damaged, but trying. She nodded. I can live with that. Me too. Not a fairy tale ending. Not complete healing, but progress. Later that night, I opened the letter. She'd written pages about her jealousy, her insecurity, about how our parents' comparisons had poisoned her, about the joke, how drunk she'd been, how angry, how she'd regretted it immediately, about losing her job, her reputation, about therapy, the slow climb back, about watching her daughter grow up and being terrified she'd repeat the patterns. And at the end, I'm sorry for all of it. I folded the letter. Then I wrote back. I told her about my own therapy, my own struggles, my own regrets, about the video, about the nights I'd wondered if there'd been another way, about forgiving myself, which had been harder than forgiving her, about moving forward, about dating, about allowing myself to be happy, about our mother, about her journal, about what she'd wanted for us. And at the end, we're okay now. We're going to be okay. I mailed it the next day. She never responded. She didn't need to. The conversation was complete. The following month, my son's soccer team made it to championships. The whole family came. My father, my sister and her daughter, my boyfriend. We sat together in the bleachers, cheering, living. My son scored the winning goal. He ran to me afterward, sweaty and grinning. I wish Dad could have seen that. He did, sweetheart. He did. And I believed it. That night, tucking him into bed, he asked, Mama, are you happy? A question I'd been asked many times over the years, but this was the first time I could answer without hesitation. Yes, sweetheart. I'm happy. Good. You deserve to be happy. So do you, baby. I am. I have a good life. Pause. Even with everything that happened, I'm glad for the life we have. I kissed his forehead. Me too, sweetheart. After he fell asleep, I went outside and sat on the deck. I thought about my husband, the man I'd loved, the life we'd planned. I thought about the video, the lawsuit, the settlement, all the choices I'd made. I thought about my sister, about forgiveness, about the long road from enemies to something like family, and I thought about myself, the woman I'd been, and the woman I'd become. I'd survived, I'd rebuilt, I'd learned. And now, 10 years later, I could finally say, I was okay. Not perfect, not unscathed, not without regrets, but okay. Happy even. And that was everything. The photo of my husband still sat on the mantle, but it didn't dominate the room. It was one picture among many. My son's school photos, my boyfriend and me, my sister's daughter's birthday party. A life, full and complicated and real. I'd started this journey consumed by rage, by grief, by the need for justice. I'd ended it with peace, with acceptance, with gratitude. The video was still in that box in my closet, a reminder of who I'd been, what I'd done, what I'd learned. I'd never watch it again. I'd never delete it. It was part of my story. Not the whole story, but part of it. And I'd made peace with that, with all of it. The wind picked up, rustling the leaves. I smiled. I did it. I whispered to the night, to my husband, to myself. We made it. We're okay. And for the first time in 10 years, I truly believed it. The end wasn't neat, wasn't perfect, wasn't wrapped in a bow, but it was honest. It was real. It was enough. And sometimes, enough is everything.